For some reason, they thought Man-at-Arms looked like Super Mario.
It's me, Mario.
I shall transform and roll out. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Genealogy. Hello there, my YouTube minions. It is I, your unfriendly neighborhood Skeletor. And today I, Skeletor, plan to answer the age-old question that every 80s cartoon fan have been asking for decades. And that is, what would it look like if the Masters of the Universe were the Transformers?
Your idea may have merit.
That's right. I doubt there's any one of us who haven't been fans of both series who haven't asked that question. And now, thanks to artificial intelligence art programs, I, Skeletor, have your answer. You may like or dislike what you're about to see. Anyway, enough of this blathering. Let's check this out, shall we? Alright, now, when I first conceived of making this video, my initial thought was, what would HeMan look like if you merged him with Optimus Prime?
We'll have to stop him.
Or, what would I, Skeletor, look like if I were Megatron?
Never!
Kind of like our offspring. What would that look like?
No! God, please, no! No!
No.
I actually ended up making those characters. But in the process of making that, I thought of an idea that I liked even better. What if the Masters of the Universe were Transformers into themselves? I mean robots in disguise of other things.
I wonder what it'd be like for a robot mind to be transferred to a human.
So then I thought, what would the Masters of the Universe look like if they could transform into the vehicles from the Masters of the Universe?
Interesting.
Now, before I start, for those of you who stay to the very end, you will all be rewarded, as I, Skeletor, will present in scrapbook form a bunch of the more comical attempts I've done, maybe some of the more badass ones that probably didn't exactly fit the theme, but look pretty cool. So, if you stay to the very end, you'll get rewarded with that.
Must be something really special.
So, let's get on with this, shall we? Number 1, Webster. And I'm not talking about this Webster. Now, Webster was the easiest vehicle I had to think of, because, it's kind of a no-brainer. A man spider, his vehicle should then be what? That's right, Spider!
Skeletor's got this creep Spider. You better step aside, because he also bites.
So my first attempt at Spider looked like this, and Spider really wasn't a very difficult vehicle to create. The first image, you can see it's got black legs, not exactly red legs, but it still catches the essence of what it is. The second one, I wanted to find more of a, comic booky look to it. Put him on top of a volcano, because why not? Added a little more color to the legs, although I don't know who this pilot is. He's not a Motu character, I know, but whatever. I even thought of what would it look like if it was a toy. And, I came up with something interesting. Not exactly completely accurate, but I kind of like it. At least it's got the spider eyes. The other one had 2 compound eyes. This one's got more of a spider look to it. Anyway, that was my attempt at Spider.
Spider's new from the Masters of the Youth. There's assembly to do. You need batteries, too.
This vehicle should get us out of here.
Now, onto Webster himself.
Webster, where are you?
I'm right here, Boney.
Now, if you're going to create a Transformer, well, he's got to look kind of like a hybrid between himself in robot form and carry the elements of the vehicle he's transforming into.
Ah, good idea.
So I tried to capture that essence with my first image here, which I thought was pretty good. It's a spider robot, for sure. Not a bad first try, I thought. Then I went for a more toy look, and I thought it was a pretty good compromise between the vehicle and character itself. It's got the black, red-legged features here. Now, I'm not sure if it could actually transform into Spider, but, if you use your imagination, why not?
Come on, you stupid robot.
I'd buy the toy, but not in this economy. I'll wait for the second-hand market. But my favorite one ended up being this one. The mouth looked a lot more menacing, as Webster does have those fangs.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
The eyes are very reminiscent of the actual Spider vehicle. It's got the red legs behind him, robust, muscular physique, but still looks like a robot. So this to me was my favorite one. Again, let me know which one you like the most.
we did it.
Now let's go on to the heroes. My first hero, Man-at-Arms. And of course, due to his color scheme, I thought it would be easiest to turn him into the Wind Raider.
There's a Wind Raider approaching.
I'm He-Man with the power of the universe on my Wind Raider.
Now the Wind Raider was a little more complicated than the Spider. So my first attempt was like this. And I actually think it didn't turn out so bad. For my first attempt, it wasn't horrible. My second one was a lot better. Now I kept putting a top on it, so I said, specifically, can I get a convertible here? And it decided to turn the Wind Raider into a 1970s Firebird. Which actually looked pretty badass. If Smokey and the Bandit was a Motu character, well, this would be what he would drive. And I actually really like this one. My next one, I went for a more cartoon look here, and again, not bad. The side turbine engine here are orange, but whatever. At least you have that more of a beast statue face on the front there. Tried to get an anchor attached to it, it just wouldn't do it. And the wings look far too bat-like, but you know, it's pretty close. And of course, if you were to buy it as a toy, would be the toy. Not horrible. The front isn't exactly accurate, looks more jet-like. Still, I wouldn't pay full price for it. Not in this market, but I'd still buy it as part of my collection if Mattel decided to release it. Why not?
Why?
That being said, I think after all this, my favorite one is still my Firebird version.
This is the Bandit, it's a snowman out there.
Run from He-Man's power.
Now for the difficult part, turning Man-at-Arms into a robot version of the Air Raider.
I've tried everything I could think of, but nothing seems to work.
Now, just to show you how frustrating this process can be, I said, man with green and orange armor with orange bat wings. And I got this. Why they decided to go with default Tom Cruise here, I have no idea. But if you ever wanted to know what Tom Cruise would look like if he played Man-at-Arms, well, there you have it.
Help me! Help you.
Not my first casting choice for Man-at-Arms, but apparently the AI thought it was.
I'm happy to entertain you.
After that one, I said, put a bloody mustache on him. And therefore, I got this. For some reason, they thought Man-at-Arms looked like Super Mario.
It's me, Mario.
I shall transform and roll out. Now, other than this Super Mario face, I actually like this one. The wings are cool. I like the orange and dark green. Armor here, he looks very robotic. Pretty badass. Except for that face. My next one, this one I actually love. The helmet here. Very robotic. Still has that Man-at-Arms helmet look here. Great body.
Well, I'm flattered.
If this was just what would Man-at-Arms look like as a robot, fine. But remember, he's supposed to look like the Wind Raider. And he doesn't exactly look like the Wind Raider. To me, I mean, they gave him wings, but he's still a few Red Bulls short of a full Transformer.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Now, the last one here was one of my favorite ones. I'm not sure which one I like the most. This one, I don't like the helmet quite as much, but I do find it funny that they gave him a robotic neon green mustache.
It's a robot.
But the body is perfect.
I know.
The orange wings, black undercoating here, which, you know, not exactly Man-at-Arms, but forgivable.
Bravo.
Anyway, my next one is probably going to get me into a lot of hot water, but I don't care, as I'm doing Evelyn. What would I make Evelyn? I know, Night Stalker.
Skeletor and Night Stalker are stalking up on HeMan.
Because Evelyn is as stubborn as a mule.
You'll pay for that!
Now again, like Spider, Night Stalker wasn't exactly a hard one to do, and I like the first one here. Even have a weird transformer riding it for some reason, but sure, why not? So I think I nailed it pretty much right off the bat. Here's what Evelyn Night Stalker would look like if she were in a more comic book style. And of course, a toy version here, which, again, wouldn't buy it brand new, but it would be on my list.
Goodbye, Night Stalker.
Well, the horse was easy. Turning Evelyn into a transforming horse was extremely difficult.
That's what worries me.
Just to show you what I mean, this was my first attempt. I mean, while hilarious, and is probably my personal favorite, as I'll most likely blow it up and pin it to my wall.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red. A horse is a horse, of course, of course.
Hey everyone, let's play Pin the Tail on Evelyn.
You wouldn't dare!
Now, well, the first attempt was horrible. My next ones were not as bad. I went for a more cartoon look, and I actually really like this version. Probably makes Evelyn more badass than she deserves, but I actually like this one.
Why, thank you.
Now, this one is an interesting one, because really, when I set out to do this, this was kind of, you know, what I had envisioned. Sort of an exoskeleton kind of robot look, which you can see here. And internally, she looks more like the character, but robotic. That's kind of what I had envisioned.
That was a good sneaky idea you had.
But after hundreds of tries for all these characters, this was the only one I was able to get this right on. And finally, this one I thought looked pretty good as well. I like the fact that she's got a horse's head here as a weapon. Anyway, that was Evelyn.
A horse is a horse, of course, of course.
What have you done?
Now, next on my list, the sorceress. Now, it's kind of a no-brainer for her. After all, she lives in Castle Grayskull. She's part human, part bird. The best Masters of the Universe vehicle that describes her would be the Talon Fighter on Point Dread.
Introducing Point Dread and the Talon Fighter.
But I think I did all right. As my first one here, I said combine an orange and blue eagle with a jet fighter, and I got this. Well, it doesn't look exactly like the Talon Fighter. I thought this was a good early try. This one here, I tried to make, you know, because the Talon has those clawed feet. And that was its attempt. Not bad. Now here's it trying to perch on Point Dread. Not exactly accurate, but not horrible. Definitely the best of these I could do. Anyway, this was Point Dread's Sorceress's vehicle mode.
Surrender to the power of Point Dread's Talon Fighter.
Now, on for the Sorceress herself.
I suspect the evil times have arrived.
As you can tell, they take things quite literally. A woman with an eagle head and a robotic feminine body, blue and orange wings, and this is what you get.
But how?
I went for a more cartoon look, and, you know, I actually really like this. Except for the fact that she looked far too human to be a transformer.
It's more than a machine now.
She looks more like she belonged on G-Force. Or Gotcha Man. My next one, very similar to the first, except for
I'm different.
they actually did the helmet right. Well, this one I probably would have made it as my favorite if it weren't for one thing. For some reason, I decided to give her talons on her boobs.
Destroy it?
I don't know what she's got going underneath there to make it look like that. And frankly, I don't want to know.
Not now or ever.
Would have been perfect if it wasn't for that. And trust me, there was nothing I said in the prompts to make it look like that. That was completely the AI's idea.
Perhaps not.
Lastly, I got this one here, which I thought was a pretty good compromise. She still has the bird headdress here with a very robotic looking face. Her chest looks a lot more natural.
No.
And still keeping her robot appearance. So this one was probably my favorite one. The last one would have been my favorite if it wasn't for that weird defect on the chest.
We did it. Thanks to you.
Alright, now for my next villain, Beastman. Now, Beastman's vehicle mode was a tough one, because I didn't want one that just fit the color scheme, I wanted one that fit his personality as well. So I thought, what better vehicle to represent Beastman than Roton?
With Roton, you can pretend the evil Skeletor can chew up anything that gets in his way.
Now, this one was probably one of the hardest vehicles I had to do. My first attempt here, this is what it looked like, you know, in a more comic book look, probably my favorite one. And then, if you want to purchase the toy, well, here you go. I actually like the toy version here. It's got lights and everything. This might be a version of Roton I paid full price for. Nah, who am I kidding? I'm never paying full price.
Chip, 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 chip. To the high ground. Yarr.
Now, turning Roton into Beastman was a pretty challenging task here. Number one, the colors don't match. And two, you know, Beastman has fur.
Uh-oh.
Well, my first attempt looked like this. Which, you know what? I actually liked. I liked it as a character, not as a transformer, as it was far too furry to be a transformer.
Why would he want a fuzzy-faced cretin like you?
But I actually thought it caught the likeness of the two quite well, and aesthetically is my favorite one. And then I tried this one.
It wasn't my fault.
I tried to get the claws to look like, you know, the saw claws on the Roton, giving him the Roton arm, a lot of black accents, so he could conceivably, you know, transform into that color, while still giving him the color we all know him to be, and the face.
Someday I'll show you.
Well, silly looking thought was pretty good. My favorite one ended up being the last one here. Again, you can see I got the exoskeleton armor on the outside here. Looks robotic version of Beastman. So this one ended up being my favorite one. I actually liked Decepticon Beastman.
Our plan is working.
Alright, on to my next hero, Tila.
What are you up to?
I decided to make it the Sky Sled.
Guys, let go!
The first one I'm going to show you is my more comic book looking one, which I didn't think was horrible. Well, I do like it, and I think it fits more of the Flash Gordon aesthetic. And less of the Masters of the Universe one, but still not bad. I went for a more realistic looking one, and you know what? I actually think I nailed it here. Here's what it would look like if it was a toy. And no, I would probably not buy this one, even on the bargain basement. But my favorite one, of course, is this one here. I mean, it's between that one and, of course, this one here. I like them both. They both look pretty accurate, or at least as accurate as I can get it to look.
Skeletor is getting away!
As for her robot mode, that was a little more difficult. My first attempt, I got something that looked like this. And again, you say eagle, it starts giving you her eagle-like feet, which wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for that.
Oh no!
The next one was actually not bad. You can see elements of the horse on her helmet here. Not enough for me to say she could actually transform into one, however. Again, more like a Power Ranger than she does a Transformer.
This is getting us nowhere.
Speaking of Power Rangers, this one here, she looks like an anime character here, but I actually didn't mind it. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment.
Last but not least of my favorite one was this one here. Keeps the very feminine elements of Tila, robotic knees and limbs. You can see that conceivably she could transform into the Sky Sled. I thought that her hair being red was a defining feature to the character.
It doesn't matter what you thought.
Kind of takes her a little bit out of the robot element, but maybe we'll just pretend that this is just robotic looking hair.
Look, the human electrode.
I did try to make her hair more robotic and stiff. But it was really difficult. If you get something look good here, then you switch it too much, all of a sudden the thing that looked good, the last image looks horrible, so that's always a compromise. And you know, me, Skeletor, I hate compromising.
I never would have guessed.
Anyway, this one is my favorite one.
Yes.
Alright, and of course my next one is He-Man. Now I had quite a difficult time trying to pick out which vehicle I was going to make He-Man. My initial thought was, it needs to be a powerful vehicle, because he is the most powerful man in Eternia, or so he likes to boast.
No, maybe we could just kick him.
The one that's the biggest in the cartoon, I would say, was the Attack Track.
Now cut that out.
Unfortunately, there is no toy that matches the cartoon version of the Attack Track, but I thought the Attack Track was the way to go.
The attack track and track him down.
Now this vehicle, of course, posed a bit of a challenge as well. As you could see from my first attempt, it looks like a vehicle that Hank Hill would drive.
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
By the power of Grayskull, I tell you what.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
It looks more like He-Man's about to mow the lawn in front of Castle Grayskull. I don't think it's horrible, but it definitely does not look like the Attack Track. Now I thought maybe I could go a little more cartoon with it, and so my next one, not horrible, but again still kind of looks like He-Man's gonna take a leisure ATV ride through the woods.
I do not like that machine.
My next one was a lot more promising. It has pretty much all the elements there from the Attack Track, except for no guns. I don't see the gun. But you can see it started to look a lot more Attack Trackish. Attack Trackish, is that a word? Well, it is now.
It has a big mouth.
Now, of course, this one here is the one I like the most. It looks pretty badass. You can see it's got the guns on the back here, and it looks more impactful, more imposing. And you know, I thought it looked pretty good. So this is my AI version of the Attack Track.
Attack Track has power that just won't quit.
Now on to He-Man himself.
Someone sure doesn't know how to treat guests around here.
He-Man was a difficult one as well, because he doesn't have many clothes. So I kind of tried to figure out what are the elements you need to have for people to recognize that it's He-Man. My first one gives you an indication as to what I decided to do. This was my first attempt at a robot He-Man.
I don't like the looks of this.
Right away you say, yes, that's He-Man. The H in the middle of his chest. There you go, your robot He-Man. And you can tell that's not Faker because he's got a goofy, nice grin on his face. If this was Faker, he'd be scowling.
Just kidding.
That's not the one I picked, but I thought that one was quite hilarious.
Your fun is over.
Now this one here, a lot more He-Man-ish. It's got that red armor with blue accents here and there, so it's believable that he could possibly have transformed into the Attack Track. However, well, he does look semi-robotic in this one. one, I don't know, it just doesn't scream Transformers to me.
You don't know what you're doing.
I wanted to go a little more robot with the next one. Here we go. His sword is a little smaller than I would have liked. Definitely robotic. You can see the robotic arms. Far more Transformers-like. The hair is perfect. Still, the face is a bit more human than I was looking for.
Totally organic, no metal parts.
So my next one, the face for me is perfect. This says Robot He-Man. The hair still looks human.
Soft 1 minute and solid the next.
Every time I tried to do the cross on his chest, it always makes him seem like he was either from Switzerland or he worked for the Red Cross.
We all make mistakes.
The sword's a little better, however, not exactly accurate. His shoulder pads are definitely more Transformer-like, but still there's something missing. And my next one demonstrates what I was actually going for here.
By the ancients.
And that's this one. It's although more cartoon-like, but it actually demonstrates the bottom here, the wheels. Now you could definitely see how he can transform into the attack track. I also like his chest here, kind of a blend between an H and a cross. His face you can't really make out, so I'm just going to imagine his face looks like the face from the last one. His sword's also way better. So this one here is my favorite Autobot He-Man. Now for the character we've really been waiting for, and the one I'm most interested to show you. And that is me, Skeletor. Now, I didn't have quite as hard a time picking out a vehicle mode for Skeletor, as there was really only one that was imposing enough and epic enough to be my vehicle mode, and that was the Land Shark.
Land shark!
Land Shark.
The mighty land shark will have Mechanic for lunch.
My first attempt was kind of hilarious. I thought, let's just combine Magenta Shark with a tank, and this is what you get. And well, it looks kind of silly. You can see the elements are all there.
This is dangerous.
So this was my first attempt. This is a more comic book look. You can see the AI went a lot more tank than shark in this one. So I wanted to lean more heavily on the shark element.
Cut that out.
So my next one, I actually like it, but doesn't look like the Land Shark to me. It just didn't have that cockpit we're looking for. But otherwise, I actually didn't mind it. But in the end, this was the closest I could get. This is a more toy version of it, but out of the hundreds of attempts I made, this was the best I could do.
Help! He-Man!
Land Shark. Land Shark.
The difficulty, though, was not the vehicle mode, but how do I translate that into my robot form? Well, you can see how that turned out. This is what I got.
The stupid robot.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry, or both. This is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the elements are all there. You can see skeleton face, but they give me more of a shark-looking face. You know, I mean, you can see it. It's just obviously not accurate.
Even the robots are smarter than you.
So I said, let's lean a little more on the human aspect, which I got this one, which I actually like aesthetically. I mean, I don't like it as a Transformer because it looks more like a Masters of the Universe figure than it does a Transformer. But still, as a Masters of the Universe figure, it's not bad. Cannon Arm Skeletor.
That robot knows more tricks than Orko.
So after a couple of tries, I got this one.
That hunk of junk!
If you wanted to know what a transforming shark Skeletor would look like, if he was designed by Tim Burton, well, there you go.
What is this?
The Nightmare Before Eternia.
I am the Pumpkin King!
And I actually kind of like this. It's got a certain ridiculous charm to it, in my opinion. It's getting closer, but not close enough.
Bunglers!
I would say this one is probably my favorite one. I think the cannons look pretty badass. I like the combination of the shark head and my hood here. The colors look pretty cool. It looks robotic and transformery enough to fit in both universes. My face looks pretty good. The only problem I had with this was the legs.
I've had it with your bumbling.
While I do like the feet, these tires here, they just don't fit with the Land Shark motif. It's supposed to have tank treads, and that's obviously car treads.
Well, what do you have to say for yourself?
If you were to take the legs from the Tim Burton version and add it to this one, I think it would be perfect. Now, the last one I'm just going to put because I really liked the image here. I wanted to see what it looked like, less toy-like, and I really liked this version. I mean, this one just looks more badass. Again, you can't really tell what's going on with the legs here, so I just imagine they did it correctly. While I do like that one, this one here is my absolute favorite one for Skeletor.
It should belong to me.
But I am interested to know what you all think. Alright, there you have it. The Masters of the Universe, if they were the Transformers, as according to AI. I actually had a lot of fun making this. More fun than anyone should, I think. Now, let me know in the comments. Did I Skeletor pick the right vehicles for the right character? What vehicles would you have picked? Now, like I said previously, I did start with the idea of combining He-Man and Optimus Prime, and I did make those characters.
You are either lying or you're stupid!
So, if you want to see Skeletor make that video, let me also know in the comments. Now, as promised, here are some of the images that didn't quite make the cut. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Shadiology. Until next time.